What the fuck is he talking about now? Can never resist a good pun. Welcome back to Tink's Garage. We're going to be looking at Forkswaps. Yes, potentially an intimidating thing to do, but actually not that difficult. We're going to be looking at two projects that I've done a Forkswap on, both of which weren't without their complications to some degree, but all resolved and successfully fitted. So there's a Forkswap on a 1978 Honda CB750 where we grafted in GSXR front forks from a 1979 Suzuki GSXR 750, as I remember. And then we're going to be looking at a 1977 Kawasaki KZ650, which I transposed a 2006 Yamaha R6 front end. Yes, that one, there. If at any time during the video you think it's any good, give it a thumbs up, even if it's just mildly amusing. And of course, subscribe down here somewhere. Right, let's go on. And before we get started, I cannot recommend these guys enough. In fact, I don't know how you do this without them, honestly. That's these guys here. I just want to show you the scope of what these guys have got available in terms of fork conversions, right? So you key in your model that you are converting, and then it gives you all these options. It's just ridiculous. So this is the place to go. And again, before we start, what's it all going to cost? Well, in the case of the Honda, the bearings were about 65 bucks, I think. I managed to find a set of forks for just over 200 bucks. Found a front wheel with the discs, again, just for 200 bucks-ish. Front brake calipers were just over 100 bucks, but unfortunately the brake discs were actually warped slightly, so I did have to buy a new set of those, and that was over 100 bucks. So total cost was about 750 bucks, which I think is about average. So if you allow for that, that'll probably be all right. And of course, don't forget, you end up with a spare set of forks, the original ones, spare front wheel, spare discs, etc., that you can sell on eBay and contra that against what it costs you to buy the new bits. So you've decided on which forks you want to put on what bike. Now you need to find your bearings. Not only is their website amazing, but they are really, really helpful people. If you can't find anything on there that does the job, then they will help out and get you sorted. I speak from experience because on the Kawasaki I ordered what the website told me to order. One of the bearings just didn't fit, didn't work, and they were very apologetic about this, and I took all kind of measurements, and they then supplied something that did work, free of charge, extra charge. So I don't know whether it was my mistake, theirs, whatever, but they put it right. So having decided which forks you're going to put on what bike, and having got your bearings, yes, another pun, it's time to get down to the business in hand. And in this episode we're going to be looking at the Kawasaki, but it's pretty much the same principle regardless of what forks you're putting on what bikes. If you are interested specifically in the CB750 and the Jigsaw front end, it is over, I want to say 3 or 4 episodes in that CB750 Cafe Racer build playlist. I'll put the links in the description so you can have a look at that as well. And its unique difficulties, shall we say? Challenges, yes, those. So here's the Kawasaki project, various clips edited together to give you the whole picture, start to finish. Yes, I know, we're already 5 minutes in and we haven't even started. There you go then. I've been talking to people on forums about the front end swap on this bike in particular, and there is no easy answer. But of course, one of the most popular ones is, guess what? Yes, an R6. Funny that, we seem to have an R6 front end over there that's not really doing very much at the moment and won't be for quite a while. Further consultation on All Balls Racing? Well, obviously they have the parts first off, we're going to be removing the forks that we're going to be using from the R6, and I'm going to keep them intact with everything, wheels, the lot. Don't see why not. Might take the triple tree out once we got it all off, just to get that bottom bearing off, and of course we're still waiting for the bearings from All Balls Racing, but they're on their way. Meantime, most of the Kawasaki front end is going to a lovely chap in Florida who's already bought some bits and pieces off me, and he's restoring his KZ. So it's nice to help people that are looking for these parts, and of course it all goes against the cost of the purchase of the bike in the first place. No, you don't care. When's he going to get on with taking the forks off? Alright. So, first job, big arse socket. Yeah. Biggest arse socket, apparently. I bought these for the Suzuki GSX-R front end, I think. Don't know if it was the same size or not, but anyway, we're going to get that baby off, and that fits on there nicely. Stage 1. It's a 36mm in case anyone's interested. I think it's a 35mm. There's a little bit of slack in there, but hopefully it will come off. Well, that came off nice and easy. I don't remember taking this off, but then I can't remember what day of the week it is. Anyway, there it is. Next up, we'll be loosening off the actual top yoke with these boys here, and then kind of lifting that over the bars, over the fork posts. Okay, with those loosened off and a little leverage from our friend the large screwdriver or any other pry bar type device, we're over the top of that now, and those will just pull off, except I need somewhere to kind of hang them temporarily. There you go, that's those out of the way. Oh, I know, multifaceted tool, isn't it, this old engine hoist? Anyway, so next up, loosen off those boys. Yes, both of them. Boy, they didn't want this to come undone, did they? Yeah, I've only got the top nut on the Honda. Now, there's several ways to get these kind of nuts off. And first off, there's a right and a wrong way. First off, this boy seems to come, so I've taken the top washer off. This boy seems to come down and lock them again. I mean, it's super safe. Very impressed, Yamaha. So I guess we need to lever that out of the way. Or maybe that just lifts out. It just lifts out. There you go. Next up, these type nuts. You can either knock them off with a screwdriver, flat blade, or if you've got one of these tools that's the right size, and I don't think this is, unfortunately, but you basically clamp that into one of the slots and then just start oh, well, there you go, just start turning and it hinges on itself. Yeah, cool. Never seen this many devices just to hold the front fork. So now we're down to that, and I'm thinking if we start lifting the crane, that might just drop out. Let's have a go. One notch and it all went horribly wrong. Yeah, so much for the side stand. Thank God for that. Bearings. That'll be the bottom bearings, because those bearings are still there, I guess. No, the bottom bearings must still be in. Where the hell did that come from? Doesn't matter. It won't be easy. Glad it fell that way, not the other way. Complicated. One complete front end. We are proceeding with taking the forks off the Kawasaki. I've removed the front wheel already. Yeah, so I'm just going to remove the bars, get them out of the way so we can get to that main nut, and then pull the tree. Okay, now we've got better access to that nut, and it's a 27mm again, as was the front wheel actually. Just FYI. Okay. Let's get it going. That's that top bolt removed, as opposed to a nut. And so I think what I'm going to do is loosen off the triple tree there, and there, and there, and remove that from the top. Might even slide the forks out, and then we'll get the rest of the main stem out. We have now knocked this off to reveal that boy. Don't think our special tool's going to work, so I think we're going to have to resort to a screwdriver for that one. Big old flat blade. Anyway, we'll give it a go. It's this funny tool, remember this? It goes in there. Actually, it might work. That seems awfully loose, but nothing on this bike is too tight, actually. That is coming. Lovely. And there it is, free. And of course, ball bearings all over the floor, because there is no captive race. They just sit in that collar at the bottom there. I don't know how you get, well, I mean, they're greased up, but they fell out. They're all over the bloody floor. Whee! No. Likewise at the top, see? Just offer up the other forks and see what we got in terms of length. Yes, these boys. I know, it's like a graveyard in here. Wrong bearings in there, we're waiting for the right ones. That bottom original Yamaha bearing is restricting proceedings in terms of the shaft getting the full distance up. But you know, that probably gives us at least 5 mil down there. And then as you can see at the top, I haven't actually got the handlebars on fully, just over the two boys there. But as you can see at the top, we got plenty of thread showing through, and that's good. And actually I've got the bottom one of these on, just to hold it vaguely securely for the time being. So, all very encouraging. That is now fully off the chains. As you can see, they're slack, just slack. So it's sitting on the side stand, and that's the new stance. Like it. And we have our bearings. We have our bearings. So we'll be hoiking that all up in the air again and getting the front forks off, getting that bottom bearing out, and exploring our new all balls racing bearings. Just checking up which is which, so I can get the right end on the right end, and labelled them up accordingly. So that's the top one, which we won't be needing for a while. Must be the bottom one then, one would hope. Well, that didn't go well. I slipped the bottom one over the top and it was bloody tight. Now I can't get it off again because I need to get that off first. Yeah, so that's annoying. Meantime, we need to get these races out, top and bottom, so we can put the new ones in. That involves a gentle tap with a long screwdriver. And the same again at the top. That was a lot easier. Time for the old freezer trick. So freezing that up should just make it a little easier to get it in and seated without damaging it too much. And it'll be the same deal on the top. And so to the race at the bottom of the triple tree, which if you haven't got a bearing puller, you can gently just tap it off with a big screwdriver. It's ever so gentle to start with. As you can see, it kind of messed that surround up a little bit, but nothing terrible. Yeah, just gently tapping round, obviously in that direction, whenever you can, to get that free. And it's coming free, it's still got a way to go. These are really tight fit at the bottom. It's a tedious process because you have to keep turning it round so that you're knocking it off evenly, and it doesn't just wedge up against the centre. But yeah, 10 minutes, something like that. Anyway, 133 ready. Just used a little bit of wood to protect the actual race itself while tapping it in with a hammer. And there's the top race in place. Fresh out of the freezer. Nice new shiny bottom race in, and that was a little more tricky, same as it was to get out actually. It's just tighter fit in the bottom there. That just involved honestly tapping with the bare metal hammer, again just gently all the way round in sequence, so you got an even kind of push on it. Anyway, we're in. We are top and tailed with shiny new races. Now, as I think I said before, All Balls Racing supply you with a 3mm and a 1mm, or 2mm. Is it a 3mm and a 5mm? Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, these big ass washers, just in case you need to adjust the gap. And essentially, it's the gap between the bottom of there and the bottom of the race, including the bearings. So the whole thing, I measured the bearing, and that's 16mm. I measured this pre-race, and that was 17mm. So I don't think we need any washers at all. And we had this situation last time and ended up with no washers. I don't know though, there's a bit of a gap. Bottom bearing and dust cover ready to go. No washers required, I think. Same deal getting it on. Some say it's worth heating this up in the oven. I tried that last time, didn't make a lot of difference. Putting this in the freezer. So you got, yeah, this expands, this contracts, whatever. And so a little interlude from the Honda front Forkswap. To show you the cooking method for applying the bottom race. Okay, let's do some cooking. So we have the yolk in the freezer. Yes, very cold. -1 degrees Fahrenheit, I guess. And now we want to do the baking, and we want it at 450, according to Chris. And let's start that puppy up. And we have it ready on a suitably round mat. And when it goes ping ping, apparently that'll be good to go. Top shelf, higher heat. Oven glove out the ready. Right, Chris said when it reaches 450 it'll be warm enough, so let's go. I don't know if I can film this. Step 1, get the yolk out the freezer. Cold. Okay. Quick. Step 2. Get the bearing out of the oven. No gloves at this point. Yeah, actually that's hot. Let's try again with glove. Okay. Shit, should have put these on first. Okay, 1mm. 1mm washer going on. Greased up doofer going on. Okay, here we go, Chris. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Wow, he's not wrong. How cool is that? Just slipped on. Did you see that? It was that quick. Alright, well, we'll just let everything come back to temperature. Very impressive. Easy way to put a bearing on. Oh, I have to say, I had my doubts about the Fanny Craddock approach to installing a new roller bearing on the thing. Yeah, but it worked. How about that? So, back to the quacker. So that's kind of seated. And I may be wrong, but I think as you tighten it up from the top on the thread, that's got to pull that tighter anyway, right? Next up, mucky stuff. Yeah, pack that with as much of that stuff as you can. It will splurge out when you start tightening it up. But once we got that packed with grease, we can then slot it into our nice new race and lower everything down on it, and then turn our attention to the top bit, which is a lot easier. I should probably point out this is not the best way to do this, but it is a method without involving special tools like bearing pullers and all that kind of stuff, or taking it down the shop. So, you know, I mean, I'm trying to tackle more stuff myself, trying not to invest in a bunch of tools because I've got nowhere to put them. But yeah, you know, recommendation, get somebody to do it with the right tools, honestly. But you can do it this way. And having somebody to help would be a help, but I haven't. So, there we go. There's the front end hanging off the bungee strap, ready to slot back in here. So I'm going to slot it back in so I've still got access to the bearing. Then I'm going to grease that up. Then I'm going to drop this down onto it. And I don't know what next. That's as far as I've thought it. No point in thinking out any further than that, because otherwise I'll forget where I started. Stage 1, center triple tree thing inserted in orifice. I'm going to drop this a little bit so it's closer. Then I'm going to wedge that up with some grease and drop it a little bit more. Okay, I have packed a lot of grease in there, and you cannot overdo this. And I've spun it round and round and round, just pushing it in, packing it in, pushing it in, packing it in. And I've bunged a load actually in the race itself, so that once it marries up, because all that's going to happen to the excess is that it's going to end up like here, like it is already. So, like I say, you can't overdo it. The more the merrier. Okay, gently lowered it down onto the side stand again, and that's in position. So I'm glad we didn't put any spacers, washers in there, whatever the hell, because certainly didn't need them. Plenty of thread, I think. So let's tackle the top. Well, sadly that's where this video ends, because that doesn't fit. That has an ID inside diameter of 25mm. Whereas this is clearly larger. Yeah. I hope I don't have to take that bloody race out, because that's going to be a pain. Anyway, first time I've had a problem with all balls racing. Just in case anyone's in any doubt what a Black Widow looks like, it's like that. Right, good news is that my friend Keith at All Balls Racing has finally got to grips with what I was trying to tell him. And we should have 2 new top bearings coming our way, and hopefully one of them will fit. Then we can get that all bolted down, and that'll be a job done. Here's our replacement bearings are in. They're all greased up and in. Yes, so it was the shorter one that fitted nicely. As you can see, we've still got some of that top thread coming out, which is good. Dust cover on, which fits over perfectly, and then one of our initial locking nuts, which will adjust with that lovely spanner thing. Yeah, so we're just going to tighten that up, which I can't do one-handed, and then we put this on for real, and we are sorted at the front end. How about that? There we go. We've actually got the full stack on, which I wasn't too concerned about, but we got both those strange nuts and the locking mechanism device and the washer. Put this on, hopefully that'll poke out enough to put the main nut on the top. Big ass socket, and the job done. Cool. Put those boys away. And on that note, I think we'll call it a day. Yes. Always best to quit while you're ahead. So thanks for watching as always. If you haven't already, please subscribe and give the video the thumbs up. And of course, encourage others to watch my lunacy.